I invested hundreds of thousands of euros in my personal, spiritual, and professional development. And I never regret that. Like, I wouldn't be who I am today without doing those investments. For me, transformation is really priceless. But of course, we want the transformation, right? And it's important to remember that it's often a spiral, how we learn and how we grow. And at certain times in our life, we are just we are only so receptive to some teachings or to face ourselves. It always goes in cycles and rhythms, yeah, depending on who we are and what we need, often what we need and are capable of handling in that very moment. Yeah, my wise mentor, he often said that you only get what you can handle. Yeah. And sometimes I wonder what the fuck, when I've gone through like really, really hardcore situations and I don't understand why. And some moments I still wonder what the fuck, but at the same time it has, created a resilience and a depth and a set of muscle that can hold a lot nowadays. Yeah. So, and when I say that, there is a part of me who want to talk into this era now where many people are kind of feeling that their boundaries are being crossed, and there is so much consent and trauma, and which is important, believe me. But also to remember that growth hurts many times. It doesn't mean that somebody's going to violate you or, harm. That's not what I'm talking about. But personal growth is, often we meet a situation because we have something to learn. And I mean that. Sometimes it's not pleasant. Often it's not pleasant. It takes courage to show up. But if we think that that growth is going to be a walk in the park, then that's not true. Sometimes that can be more pleasant, and it's not about pain and harsh and pushing through. It's so many different levels and ways of growth, yeah. But often we also need to remember that we often have our own patterns that we need to work with, that other people, we might not even see it, and that's why we get triggered by somebody else and start to point a finger to them. Again, I'm not saying that, somebody always going to say it's just your projection and so on and so forth, because I don't believe it's always that, whose projection is it then? But to remember that many times the lesson will most likely reveal itself with time, especially if it gets repeated multiple times, yeah? And I often see it as a spiral. It was actually Sarita who shared that, imagine that in our awakening process and personal growth process, we are climbing like a spiral, like a ladder, upward going ladder. And, maybe on the bottom, we have this pattern or a trauma. And we deal with it, we feel better, and then we go a little higher, and we meet it again, and we're like, what the fuck, I just worked with this. But it's less strong, it's just a nuance, it's just the quality of it, because in that moment we are ready to face the pattern in another level of depth. So sometimes it takes years to work through some patterns, like years. Like, believe me, I worked on some patterns for a decade. And I keep seeing like, wow, it's still nuances, right? So to have that in mind, that it takes time and we have courage and compassion, and it sucks. Sometimes it sucks, and we just feel shit, yeah, until we get really, really good at dealing with it. Not dealing with it, but being with, meeting and moving through, yeah. Inhale it, exhale it, let it go. Sit with it, be with it, exhale, letting go, yeah. And with time, you will be so skilled in doing this. And this is really one of the main pieces in the Armring as well. Like, we really get we get to meet ourselves from so many different angles. We build a big toolbox, that equips us for life, for everyday life, for many situations with many different people. Is it that it? No. No. After that, you might go and find another thing and another thing, So the journey never ends. And transformation can have peak experience, but integration takes time. To change our behaviors takes time. Yeah. with that said, an investment in personal transformation is invaluable. Like when people say, what will I get and how do I know? And it's like, it's also up to you. It's really up to you. Like, how willing are you to deep dive? How willing are you to show up? How willing are you to show yourself, to reveal, to access? How capable are you of accessing? That's also part of it. Like, many times people come and they just want to have like, yeah, do this or I want that. And they expect certain things, but we can take you to the water. I can take you to the water, but you have to drink yourself. Yeah. And sometimes we can help to show like, okay, that's the path, or walk this bridge, or if you do that, then it can help. So we get help from the outside to see ourselves. But in the very, very end, the only way to grow into true power, as I call it, is to do the work ourselves. That's how we gain experience, wisdom, how it embodies, and that's the only most potent way how we can share it, and most honest way that we can share it with other people. I hope this helps you. Much love from Bali.